It is Wednesday, the 20th of May, 2026. Thank you for joining us. You're watching the main news on ZBC live from Pocket Hill in Harare. I am Mona Lisa Dube.
And my name is Malvin Matawa, and today Nobo Maungwa will be interpreting our bulletin in sign language.
Our top stories this evening. President Emmerson Mnangagwa rallies the youth to spearhead national development initiatives.
Also topical today, Nguruwe serial killer Henry Mojicha sentenced to 89 years in prison.
Later in business, African Development Bank ejects $4 million into Zimbabwe's creditor dialogue roadmap.
And in sport, Warriors eye 2027 AFCON qualification after a favorable group draw. ZANU-PF President and First Secretary Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa says that young people are the primary beneficiaries of the fourth Chimurenga, hence the need for their active participation in economic development. He said this while addressing the ZANU-PF Youth League National Assembly at the party's headquarters in Harare this Wednesday.
It was a thunderous welcome for the ZANU-PF President and First Secretary Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa upon his arrival for the ZANU-PF National Youth Assembly meeting at the party's headquarters in Harare this Wednesday. Dr. Mnangagwa challenged the young people to be the inheritors of the fourth Chimurenga through the adoption of new technologies to modernize and industrialize Zimbabwe's economy.
As the ZANU-PF Youth League at all levels, you are inheritors of the fourth Chimurenga. Events such as the Youth Business Forum held on the sidelines of this year's Zimbabwe International Trade Fair are encouraging towards ensuring that young entrepreneurs are integrated and aligned to productive and priority areas of economy. More partnerships should be pursued with organizations such as ZimTrade to help youth enter export markets. Similarly, various bilateral and multilateral MOUs signed by my administration should be leveraged for the entry of youth-owned businesses into regional and global value chains. Do not miss the trend. The centrality of the economy anchored on innovation, local value addition, and beneficiation, along with increased production and productivity, demand fundamentally a mindset that is focused.
Zimbabwe has adopted a cocktail of measures to ensure the economy thrives, and this is evident by the projections of the 2030 agenda, which are taking shape.
The establishment of the Joshua Mkabugo Nyongolonkomo Vocational Training Center as a legacy project in Mapisa, Matabeleland South Province, stands as another lasting symbol of our party's commitment to avail skills that drive youth development and a higher quality of life to closer communities. The Youth League leadership has a duty to publicize these new institutions and facilitate the necessary careers and skills guidance among the intended beneficiaries. Our country, Zimbabwe, is the first achieving aspirations projected under Vision 2030. The future we are building under the Second Republic requires foresighted thinkers, meticulous planners, and focused implementers. Fortunately, this has always been part of the DNA of our revolutionary party and our youth.
The issues to do with the discipline have remained central to the message of the president at every gathering for the party.
Under the ZANU-PF-led government, we remain unrelenting to the current quest to invest in the capabilities of future of our young Zimbabweans. To date, our numerous policies, programs, and interventions are laying a firm foundation for a generation that is productive, disciplined, and fully aware of the responsibilities of their generation. What are your responsibilities? Ask yourself, first and foremost, are you disciplined? Kubva pamba paunogara navabereki, kuenda pavillage pako, paward pako, padistrict pako, muprovince mako, munyika yekwako. Are you disciplined? You must develop a culture of service, patriotism, and innovation among the young people across the country is pleasing. In the implementation of all agreed party resolutions, decisions, and programs, our enduring party ideology, Gwara Rumsangano, remains our guide. Gwara Rumsangano. The correct line of our revolution demands that we act in ways that strengthen the party, not weaken the party. Wongo musangano wedu ndiwo ruzhinji une gwara nemaitiro ndo zvatinosungirwa kutevedza. Sevatungamiriri vechidiki hamuiti mazvake.
The president emphasized the need for young people to uphold discipline as well as the active participation in economic transformation while growing the party membership within communities they come from. The ruling party has come up with a cocktail of measures to ensure that the citizenry is empowered, which builds to the Vision 2030 of an upper middle income society. Bruce Chawanda, SABC News, Harare.
Meanwhile, the ZANU-PF Secretary for Legal Affairs, Comrade Ziyambi, says that the Constitutional Amendment No. 3 bill received overwhelming written responses, filling 3 rooms at the Parliament building.
As the country looks forward to Parliament for the reviewing process of the Constitutional Amendment No. 3 bill, ZANU-PF Secretary for Legal Affairs, Comrade Ziyambi, took the opportunity to update members on the processes made so far.
Tinanonzi law reviser tikabva tamudana tikati ngatichikwenenzvera constitution, saka zvimwe zviri mukebhu 3 hazvisi zveresolution, ndezvekuti tatakukwenenzvera maringe nekuti tatakuudzwa kuti ichi chakuda kunatsurudzwa. Saka makazoona tatakutaura zvekuti aiwa voters roll kwayakanyatsokodzera kunge iri ndekwaregistrar general kwava kazembe. Makuona takutaura kuti mubumbiro redu hamusina delimitation commission. Vanoziva kuti patakatanga Shivu yanga iri part of Midlands. Saka commission iyoyo toda kuti inzi delimitation commission ichibatsira kuita miganhu yemadhorobheni zvakawanda yakazvimiririra. Saka patave zvinezvi, Your Excellency, last week ndakaenda kuParliament, public consultation apera. Kune marumu akukwana 3 azara masubmissions akaitwa nevanhu kuratidza how wide the consultations have been.
Comrade Ziyambi explained the processes that will take place after the closure of the consultation process.
Second reading mandine chazenge ndichipakura kuti bhiriro rinomborevei kunhengo dzeparamende nenyika yese, tichitsetsenura zvarinoreva kuitira kuti tinge tichivhura debate kuparliament. Kana tapedza debate iyo tozopinda manje mucommittee stage matinenge tichiongorora close by close tichiipasa kusvika tapedza. Kana tazopedza tochizovhota.
ZANU-PF Secretary for Youth Affairs, Comrade Tino Machakaere, said the Youth League remains firm as the vanguard of the party.
As young leaders, we carry the responsibility of defending the unity, integrity, and direction of the party at all times. History remembers leaders who hold office, but generations remember leaders who transform nations. Your Excellency, under your leadership, the people of Zimbabwe continue to witness that vision, resilience, and development in action. Tinenge tiine Your Excellency, kukaita usiku, kukaita maskati, kukatonhora, kukapisa, tinenge tiine Your Excellency. As the Youth League, we pledge to remain resolute in its endeavor of being a vibrant vanguard of the revolutionary ruling party, ZANU-PF. We reiterate our absolute and support to you, our revered leader, as you steer the nation towards the attainment of Vision 2030. Tichange takamira tiri pamuri, Your Excellency.
Parliament is currently reviewing public contributions to the Constitutional Amendment number 3 bill gathered during the 90-day window period. Chris Chawanda, ZBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe has stepped onto one of the world's emerging technology platforms after participating at the Digital Industry of Industrial Russia conference, where global leaders are discussing the future of artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, as well as smart economies.
Vice President General Retired Dr. Konstantino Chiwenga, representing President Emerson Mnangagwa, arrived in the Russian city of Nizhny Novgorod this Tuesday, leading a high-level Zimbabwean delegation that includes ICT Minister Honorable Tatenda Mavetera, senior government officials, and information technology experts. The conference comes at a time when digital economies are becoming major drivers of global growth, with Russia revealing that its information technology sector has doubled its contribution to the country's gross domestic product over the last 6 years. The CIPR Forum has brought together technology companies, investors, policymakers, and innovation specialists from Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, with discussions focusing on artificial intelligence, cloud technologies, industrial software engineering, data security, robotics, and digital public infrastructure. For Zimbabwe, participation at the conference is expected to unlock major opportunities.
The first industrial revolution done in the 18th, 19th century was done by Europe alone, and the rest of the world was not there. And the second and third industrial revolutions that emerged were either under occupation, and after we had gained our independence, most of the Africans with the last to get their independence, South Africa, 1994. We are now want to leapfrog, not to follow the footsteps that the rest of the world has taken. Africa has a lot, is endowed with a lot of resources. And Africa has the youngest population. So those two combined, the natural resources, God-given resources that we have, we must now utilize them to develop our continent. And more importantly, Zimbabwe, we see ourselves playing a major role in that development.
Government has already identified ICT as one of the key pillars for economic transformation, with authorities rolling out innovation hubs, community information centers, and e-government systems aimed at modernizing public services and bridging the digital divide. Zimbabwe is expected to use the platform to engage technology firms and explore partnerships in cybersecurity, smart agriculture, e-government systems, digital infrastructure, and innovation-based industrial development. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Nizhny Novgorod.
Now, the Second Republic's commitment to universal health coverage is gathering pace, with a new clinic dedicated to veterans of the liberation struggle and people with disabilities having been commissioned in Gwanda.
According to the Zimbabwe National Statistics Agency ZimStat of 2022, Gwanda's urban population has rapidly risen to above 27,000. And the challenge with this rise in population is that Uganda relies much on Bakama Clinic for the primary health care services. Now, the construction of the Joshua Nkomo Clinic by the Muduguri Rehabilitation and Empowerment Foundation here in Uganda has answered prayers of many residents here.
Lokhu kuzasisiza ukuthi lathi siphakamele phezulu sibuye sizothola usizo ngoba onguye obuyele ngqondo yokwakha lesi sibhedlela ngomunye wethu abakhubazekileyo.
Ukubeka kwesibhedlela lesi njengama-disability ngibona ngani sizaba lentokozo enhle kakhulu.
Njengabantu abaphila nge-disability sikhangelela ukuncedakala sesincedisiwe sesincedekele kakhulu.
The clinic is expected to offer healthcare services to veterans of the liberation struggle and people with disabilities free of charge.
Ndawo yakhona kumathebheleni and vice president kubanda ndawo yane clinic Joshua Nkomo clinic but pa clinic ipapo pacharapwa moveti mahara pagorapwa na mjiba mahara pagorapwa maditeni mahara pagorapwa machembere mahara pagorapwa madisabled iswana muduri mahara.
Opening of this clinic will significantly ease pressure on existing services, bring healthcare services closer to people and improve overall service delivery.
Vice President Colonel retired Dr. Kembo Mohadi, who commissioned the Joshua Nkomo Clinic this Wednesday here in Uganda, said government is committed to the transformation of the health sector.
The timely construction of Dr. Joshua Nkomo Clinic will go a long way towards servicing the people of Rwanda, Matabeleland South Province, and Zimbabwe at large. It will further reduce the distance traveled by our people to access health care, especially women and children. I commend Comrade Jimai Muduri and his team at Muduri Pan-African Referral Hospital for complementing government efforts as we seek to leave no one and no place behind.
Joshua Nkomo Clinic here in Uganda joins a long list of clinics constructed by the Muduguri Rehabilitation and Empowerment Foundation, all in line with the Second Republic's commitment to inclusive development. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Uganda.
Guruve serial killer Enimo Zicha has been sentenced to an effective 89 years in prison after pleading guilty to 10 counts of rape, attempted murder and robbery.
35-year-old Zicha is set to spend the rest of his life behind bars after a historic sentencing at the Harare Magistrate Court. Zicha, who shocked the nation after being arrested on multiple murder cases and rape, was convicted by a Harare Regional Magistrate Francis Mapfumo. He will serve an effective 89 years in prison. The court said that the offences were committed on different occasions in aggravating circumstances, with Zicha targeting women, some of whom he would sexually assault and kill. The court said that Zicha also carried out a series of brutal attacks in Guruwe, targeting children and vulnerable villagers while armed with knives. The court described Zicha as a danger to society and noted the gravity and brutality of the offences, resulting in a lengthy prison term to protect the public and deter similar crimes. The court further noted that the offences caused lasting psychological and emotional harm to the victims. Zicha became one of Zimbabwe's most feared criminals, and his arrest early this year came as a huge relief not only to the Guruwe community but to the nation at large. Pavo Makona, ZBC News, Harare.
The First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, attended a court session at Rotten Row Magistrates Court, a move aimed at gaining first-hand appreciation of how the country's legal system operates.
First Lady Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa has been touring the country to gain a first-hand understanding of traditional courts and how justice is administered at the community level. This Wednesday, her focus shifted to the formal justice system with a visit to Rotten Row Magistrates Court in Harare. The visit was aimed at appreciating how cases are tried in modern law courts and how the formal and traditional systems interact in Zimbabwe's justice delivery framework. The First Lady, accompanied by court officials, sat through proceedings and observed courtroom processes from the opening of cases to the delivery of rulings. Among the matters heard during her visit was that of Enimo Zicha. Zicha has been sentenced to 89 years in prison after being found guilty of rape, attempted murder and robbery. Zicha was facing 4 counts of rape, 5 attempted murder charges and 1 robbery charge. The 35-year-old pleaded guilty to all 10 counts last week when he appeared before Harare Regional Magistrate. While separate murder charges against Zitra are still pending before the High Court, the court session at Rotten Row provided survivors with a moment of relief. The presence of the First Lady among the bereaved families also showed that they are not alone in their moment of grief. Zitra's case underscored the severity with which violent crimes are treated in the country's formal justice system.
The court's overall view is that all the offences were committed in aggravating circumstances. The court's against well-considered view is that the aggravating features of these cases are far outweighing the mitigating circumstances of the cases. The offender is therefore going to be incarcerated for a lengthy period of time. In passing sentence, the court is going to make offences which were committed on the same day and which run from the same series of facts to run concurrently. In count 1, 20 years imprisonment. Count 2, 7 years imprisonment. Count 1 and 2 are going to run concurrently. Count 3, 12 years imprisonment. Count 4, 7 years imprisonment. Count 5, 10 years imprisonment. Counts 4 and 5 are going to run concurrently. On count 6, you are sentenced to 7 years imprisonment. Count 7, you are sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. On count 8, you are sentenced to 7 years imprisonment. Count number 7 and count number 8 are going to run concurrently. Count 9, you are sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. Count 10, you are also sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. Count 9 and 10 are going to run concurrently.
A separate matter before the court involved the alleged rape of a 46-year-old disabled woman from Kwekwe who is confined to a wheelchair. The complainant is accusing 35-year-old Sifela Ntebwichi of waterfalls. According to the charge, on the 2nd of April this year, the accused went to the complainant's room and asked her to have sexual intercourse with her. She refused. It is alleged that the accused persisted. The complainant told him she could not physically resist him due to a disability and requested that he use protection if he intended to proceed. The accused left returned with condoms, and the complainant again stated she did not consent, reiterating that she was unable to resist because of her condition. The accused then had protected sexual intercourse with her once without her consent. Following the incident, the complainant reported the matter to the police, leading to the arrest of the accused. She was referred to Mbare Polyclinic for a medical examination, and the medical affidavit has been included in the case docket.
I perceived that he's a transactional person. He was saying to me, why don't you do this for me so that I do this for you? But I kept on insisting that this would not end well. Since he was insisting all this time, I saw that he was bent on having sex with me. I did not agree for him to use a condom as a means of consent, but as a means of protecting myself. He then proceeded to lift me and put me on the bed and disrobed me. He then proceeded to have sexual intercourse with me. And I was screaming. Because I was screaming, he was slapping me. I kept on screaming. I was screaming in an effort to get help. But I knew that our neighbors next door were both deaf and mute. I was screaming in an effort to get other people to hear and know what was happening in my room. The accused did not retreat from his intent. He kept on raping me. I kept on screaming. While I kept on screaming like that, he kept slapping me. Eventually left the room. He fled the room. I'm a recent graduate of Solusi University. I've just recently graduated. Why would I deviate from that course and solicit sex from a virtual nobody?
Pawari kuti ndakavabata chibharo ndatora makondomu kurumu ndikadzoka bheki patinogara nevanonzwa vese panongori nemusiyano we5 meters zvokuti ingadai vakaskrima kana ndakabata chibharo munext room hapana munhu aivapo vanhu vaivapo muroom pane 5 meters zvokuti ingadai vakaskrima vainzwikwa pandai ndotora makondomu ndichidzoka Ndikana ndakavarepa makuseni vakazondikumbira ndikavasunda neucha vakati ndibudisewo panze semazuva ese manebhasi vese vaivapo vakati kwadzoti munhu akandirepa kuti makuseni acho ayo ndisati ndatovabudisa vakati ndibikire tii ndatovabika tii ndikavapa zvechikafu ndikavapa zvese.
The matter was adjourned to the 20th of May due to the absence of a key witness. The First Lady is on record saying that understanding both the traditional and formal justice systems is important for everyone, since traditional courts resolve disputes using customary practices that people know, while modern courts operate under statutory law. Seeing both in practice helps find ways to strengthen access to justice for people. Dr. Mnangagwa has consistently linked her work in communities to issues of justice, protection of women and children, and dispute resolution. Her visits to traditional courts have highlighted how elders mediate family land and inheritance disputes using local customs. The visit to Rotterdam provided a contrasting view of how the same disputes can be handled under formal law. The insights gained would inform the First Lady's ongoing outreach work through the Angel of Hope Foundation, particularly in educating communities on their rights and the channels available for seeking legal redress. Her tour of courts across the country continues, with an emphasis on linking traditional and modern systems to ensure justice remains accessible, fair, and understood by the people it serves. Colette Msanyera, ZBC News, Harare.
The government is confident that the country will garner enough votes needed to gain a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council.
Since announcing its bid for a non-permanent seat to the UNSC, the country has been seeking support from the international community and has so far reached out to 106 of the 193 United Nations member states, representing 55% of the global body. The latest diplomatic breakthrough follows Zimbabwe's participation at the 11th Review Conference of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons held in New York at the end of April. Represented by Defense Minister Honorable Opamchinguri Kashiri, Zimbabwe used the platform to advance its campaign by reaffirming its commitment to international peace and security, disarmament, and the peaceful uses of nuclear energy. Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services Minister Dr. Jemusoda says Zimbabwe's growing international engagements reflect increasing confidence in the country's foreign policy thrust anchored on peace, multilateralism, and international cooperation.
Regarding Zimbabwe's bid for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council for the term 2027 to 2028, the ministry has successfully reached out to 106 out of 193 member countries, representing 55% against the initial target of 60%. Cabinet approved the report on Zimbabwe's participation at the 11th Review Conference of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons held in New York, United States of America from the 27th to the 30th of April 2026. The visit also provided an opportunity to advance Zimbabwe's United Nations Security Council non-permanent seat bid by highlighting the country's commitment to peace and security through the full and balanced implementation of the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons.
As the ever-evolving global geopolitics continue to impact the world order, Foreign Affairs and International Trade Minister Professor Amon Murwira says Zimbabwe is entering the race with overwhelming support from the international community and a strong commitment to pushing for sustainable peace efforts.
What we are volunteering to do as a country by going to the Security Council, we are recognizing, that's why it is called the Security Council. We are recognizing that the world is a troubled place. And Zimbabwe is going to play its part in smoothing this troubled place. We have had well over 135 written commitments by countries that are outside of Africa to support Zimbabwe. Because of our stance and the stance taken by His Excellency the President, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa's doctrine of friend to all and enemy to none, we have received support from across the board. So far, we have not had the misfortune of hearing any negatives as when it comes to Zimbabwe's bid. So we are looking forward to a successful election.
Zimbabwe's push for a UN Security Council seat is being viewed as a significant milestone in the country's international re-engagement drive and a reflection of growing confidence in its role within regional and global diplomacy. The country has served on the UNSC twice, from 1983 to 1984 and between 1991 and 1992. Olina Ndori, ZBC News, Harare.
On to other news, the intense anti-smuggling campaign by ZIMRA has assisted in boosting national revenue collection after noting over 2.5 billion United States dollars in the first quarter of the year. We get that report from Theophilus Chuma.
Government's anti-smuggling crackdown being implemented by the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority, ZIMRA, has managed to post a significant strides in terms of combating systematic corruption and tax evasion that had prejudiced the government of critical revenues over the past years.
The intensive anti-smuggling crackdown launched last year tightened screws along the country's borders with South Africa and Mozambique, targeting syndicates using buses and trucks to transport groceries and beverages illegally. The Revenue Authority has intercepted contraband, including illegal meat products, undeclared medicines and foodstuffs. According to the latest indications by government, the success of this campaign pushed revenue collections to over 2.5 billion United States dollars in the first quarter of this year.
We had to, make sure that we stop this scourge of smuggling of goods. But also we're going to shift going forward to dealing with exports as well, because you also have smuggling of exports. And that too, especially around minerals, that too requires a very serious and considered effort to slow this down to make sure that Zimbabwe can maximize value on its exports and minimize leakages on illicit imports.
Authorities are looking to ensure that this campaign is sustained in order to protect from any revenue leakages resulting from smuggled goods. Theophilus Chuma, ZBC News, Harare.
Significant milestones in road rehabilitation across the country have become the trademark of the Second Republic, with the Wedza Mushandra Pamwe road tar surfacing expected to be completed this year.
The Nakiwanyadire Murewa Madacheche and the Nekairo Chugonda road modernization is on course in Mashonaland East Province. Provincial Roads Engineer Tatenda Paspamire revealed that works to complete the remaining 11 kilometers of the 47.5 Wedza Mushandra Pamwe road are on course.
To date, we have worked on 34.5 and we are now left with 11 kilometers between Chop Chop and Mushandra Pamwe.
Residents are excited about the latest development.
Tinotenda hurumende iri kubata basa rakanaka.
Ndona kuti program yeroad yakufamba zvakanaka.
Kugadzirwa kwegona zvisingaite. Saka totenda nebasa riri kuitwa.
Wedza North Legislator Advocate Taindudzo says the Wedza Mushandra Pamwe road is the nerve center of the economic activities in the area and an important link to Harare, Marondera and Manicaland.
This is a very critical link road because it connects the district capital of Wedza and the provincial capital of Marondera. It also connects the district capital of Wedza and the national capital. It also links Mashonaland East with Manicaland, because that's the road from Wedza you are going into Manicaland, into Boera and into Makoni. And again, it links also Wedza and Chikomba. And we believe that once this road is completed, it will speak volumes of the strides we would have made in the Second Republic in terms of our infrastructure development.
Special advisor to the President on monitoring implementation of government programs and projects, Dr. Joram Gumbo says progress on the Wedza Mushandra Pamwe road mirrors milestones being recorded throughout the country to improve road infrastructure.
This improvement of the road that we see has got a lot of benefits for the people in this area.
they produce quite a number of crops, and it becomes easy for them to transport their products to Marondera, and also for all other social activities that might force them to travel around.
The Wedza Mushandira Pamwe Road is among several highways being upgraded under the Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program aimed at modernizing the country's road network. Kenya's Chifuje, ZBC News, Wedza.
Remember, for these and other stories, you can log on to our website, www.zbcnews.co.zw, and we also look forward to interact with you on our social media platforms.
Yes, you can do that on our X handle, as well as Facebook page and YouTube channel, or under the banner ZBC News Online.
And still ahead on the main news this hour. The African Development Bank injects $4 million into Zimbabwe's creditor dialogue roadmap.
We'll also be taking a look at sport, where the Warriors are eyeing 2027 AFCON qualification after a favorable group draw. Well, the main news takes a short break. Stay with us.
Experience the rhythm of Zimbabwe, the sound of our heritage, the heartbeat of our culture. The Ministry of Sport, Recreation, Arts and Culture, through the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe and the Ministry of Tourism and Hospitality Industry through the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority, proudly invite you to the Mbira Festival on the 23rd of May 2026 at 9 a.m. at Baradzanwa Cultural Center. Come and witness electrifying performances from renowned Mbira players, vibrant exhibitions by Mbira makers, players and sellers, and celebrations honoring legends who have preserved and promoted Zimbabwe's iconic traditional instrument. Discover the beauty of Zimbabwean culture, support local creatives, and immerse yourself in an unforgettable cultural tourism experience filled with music, heritage, and tradition. Zimbabwe through culture, Zimbabwe through tourism. Experience Zimbabwe, Naka yedu ilifa letu, our heritage. This is us, Zimbo.
Cicada unlocks EU financing and EU Zimtrade partnership benefits, thus enabling Isaac's farming business to flourish.
Kuminda benefits from EU Zimtrade partnerships, backing Taku's career, ensuring export quality.
2 hustles, 1 outcome. Everyone levels up together. From farms to cold rooms to global shelves, skills and teamwork are opening new paths every day. Stories of progress, wins worth celebrating.
We've always known what it takes to grow. But this is what it feels like to finally step inside the dream. It's that quiet moment when a room holds everything it used to be and everything it made possible. That this is actually mine feeling when the first payment hits. That pure adrenaline from a small space to an empire you rule. And when you said you'd almost sleep in your first car, we made sure you actually did. Plans may adapt, circumstances will evolve, but your growth, that's non-negotiable. Bank on growth with Stanbic Bank Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is our home, and we drive her growth.
Stanbic Bank is a registered commercial bank and a member of the Deposit Protection Scheme.
Destination Hungary.
Europe's greatest stage awaits.
It's a game that really does underline the word champions. Parisian perfection.
2 giants remain as the eyes of the world turn to Budapest.
Oh, incredible!
Don't miss a moment with club football's biggest prize on the line.
Oh, wow! Have you ever seen football on this level.
Catch all the action on DSTV Access, only on SuperSport on DSTV.
Welcome back. A funeral parade for the late Brigadier General retired Donald Silundi Chuma was held at Imbizo Barracks in Bulawayo in honor of the decorated senior military officer.
It was a sad moment, yet befitting honor as colleagues bade farewell to the senior military officer in Bulawayo this Wednesday.
iphakathi kokucindezelo abasukumayo ukuthi thina sesifunga ikhulula ilizwe lethu ukuthi singahlali ekucindezeleni kwenze ukuthi imuli zabo labo zingahlali ekucindezeleni le phakathi wonke weZimbabwe akuphile elizweni elikhululekileyo endaweni eNampundu lapho okwakufikela abaningi ababejoyine impi bevelela endaweni ezitshiyeneyo iyinkamba eyayihlala ama-refugee eZapho ngaphandle kwelusaka laphana sisuke lapho saya trainer ndawonye njalo eMembeshi si trainer isigorilla silungiselela ukuthi size ekhaya size kulwa impi.
Brigadier General retired Donald Silundi Chuma will always be remembered for his principled stance, wide military experience, and dedication to his country, as described by the Zimbabwe National Army Commander, Lieutenant General Asha Walter Tapfumanei.
Yakamona achirwa kuMozambique kwatakaenda seZimbabwe kunoprotecta lifeline yedu akarwa futi kuDemocratic Republic of Congo ende akaita maappointments akawanda nekuti anga ari munhu ane high caliber officer akabata nevamwe zvakare papeacekeeping mission yekusouth Sudan. Saka general kana tichitarisa nhoroondo yavo tinoona kuti vakashanda chaizvo kushandira nyika ine.
Brigadier General retired Chuma first served the country during the liberation struggle, and at independence he was attested into the Zimbabwe National Army, where he rose through the ranks. He died on the 15th of this month at his home in Nkulumane, Bulawayo. The late Brigadier General retired Chuma is survived by 4 children. Burial arrangements will be announced in due course. Mhlomo Ncube, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Preparations for the commissioning of the Glover's 110-megawatt solar plant at Munyati in Kwekwe are at an advanced stage. This comes as the Midlands province continues on an upward development trajectory through increased investment in renewable energy projects.
In 2019, government crafted the National Renewable Energy Policy aimed at increasing private sector participation in power generation while promoting clean and sustainable energy sources. It is under this framework that the Glover's solar plant in Kwekwe is nearing commissioning, with Midlands Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Owen Ncube, conducting an assessment tour of this project.
This plant here at Munyati Power Station will be officially commissioned by the head of state and government, Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, Comrade Dr. Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, on Friday. This is another milestone achievement by the Second Republic.
Once commissioned, the solar plant is expected to add power into the national grid, strengthening electricity supply for domestic and industrial use while advancing Zimbabwe's renewable energy ambitions. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Kwekwe.
As part of efforts to give the golden leaf growers in Matabeleland enhanced access to the market, the tobacco contract floors have opened in Bulawayo for the sale of naturally cured Virginia tobacco, and the sales are taking place at the Zimbabwe International Exhibition Center.
The cultivation of naturally cured Virginia tobacco in Matabeleland is feeding directly into the country's economic transformation as contract flows are being decentralized to areas like Bulawayo, hence easing transportation costs for farmers. Over 300 farmers from Matabeleland South and North brought more than 1,000 bales to Bulawayo's contract flow, where their highest grade of naturally cured Virginia tobacco fetched $4 United States per kilogram.
I saw tobacco as a very lucrative crop, especially hearing from areas like Mashonaland, how tobacco was being touted, so that it's a cash crop that you can sell outside the country.
Compared to any other crops sebesidimile, so mbona nganokwegwayo uzosisiza kakhulu.
The tobacco grown in Matabeleland by commercial and communal farmers is unique in the sense that it is cured using drying bans that rely on natural heat from the sun.
There is a monitor on that barn. I've left that on there so you can see what the temperature is in the middle of the barn there. 27% moisture inside there. So when we load the barn, that is up at 95% moisture. And then daily it comes down. It's about 50% moisture. That's when we start to close.
With naturally cured tobacco being cost-effective, women and young people spoke highly of how its cultivation has transformed their livelihoods.
It's good. I can cover something, something like me.
Into ezuthi sithabe kakhulu. iVision 30 ikhanyisa sitholisa imali lentuthuko lapha eMatabeleland ngoba igwayi libe lingakaze lilinywe lapha.
Uthiwa igwayi liyalima ngathi lami ngifuna ukubona ukuthi ngingakwanisa yini. Kodwa ngiqalisa hayi kwangani kunzima kodwa hayi ngakubona hayi.
The expansion of tobacco growing into Matabeleland is part of the Second Republic's drive to diversify agriculture and grow the province's gross domestic product.
We've restarted the growth of tobacco in Matabeleland farm by way of natural flue-cured tobacco. This natural flue-cured tobacco is the most sustainably grown tobacco that we can have because we don't burn any tree, we don't burn any core. So you would see that there is more sustainability that has come on board.
The model to grow tobacco in Matabeleland is empowering farmers who were previously not in the tobacco value chain. Lisa Kodira, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
The government has signed a memorandum of understanding with Liquid Intelligent Technologies, which is meant to ensure a robust, sustainable educational and skills development program that aligns with industry needs.
The move is expected to create a robust and sustainable skills development program aligned with the country's industrialization agenda. The partnership between government and Liquid Intelligent Technologies will also result in the establishment of innovation hubs for hands-on training in artificial intelligence.
The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding is about ensuring that we create a robust, sustainable educational and skills development program that relates to industry, focusing primarily on artificial intelligence, focusing also on cloud computing, digital analytics, and many other issues related to the digital economy in the context of the fourth industrial revolution.
The agreement will also see the two parties collaborating in training programs focused on artificial intelligence, cloud computing, cybersecurity, and digital analytics.
We have collectively started an innovation hub where we are getting people to train, so keep the capabilities on training. So we're going to be training them on cloud and cybersecurity, on AI, on digital fluency.
The signing ceremony comes at a time government is prioritizing education sector development as well as innovation as a tool for industrialization. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
The government has launched the National Migration Data Strategy, a comprehensive framework designed to strengthen the collection and management of migration data to support key planning areas including employment. Now, the Chief Director of the Department of Immigration, Zimbabwe, Ms. Respect Gono, highlighted that the development marks a new chapter in Zimbabwe's migration governance.
As a department, we acknowledge the pivotal role migration plays in shaping the nation's social, economic, and cultural landscape. To fully harness the benefits and address the challenges of migration, generating accurate, reliable, and timely data is essential. The newly launched National Migration Data Strategy establishes a comprehensive framework for collaboration among government ministries, departments, agencies, academia, and development partners to produce trusted and policy-relevant migration data. In other words, we are taking a whole of government and whole of society approach. This strategy aligns with the regional and international frameworks, including the African Union's Agenda 2063, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly, and Regular Migration, underscoring Zimbabwe's commitment to informed decision-making to support national development and security.
The government of Zimbabwe is grateful to Chinese media and communication institutions that have opened their doors and agreed to forge long-lasting relations in areas such as capacity building, content sharing, and technological cooperation between Beijing and Harare. In his remarks during the closing ceremony of a seminar for media professionals from Zimbabwe, Chief Director in the Ministry of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Jonathan Gandari, said that China's modernization model has demonstrated that development can be achieved without abandoning national identity and pride.
Artificial intelligence can be used strategically to tell a nation's civilization. But beyond technology, this seminar reminded us of something even more important: the power of friendship. As ancient Chinese wisdom teaches us, good brothers fight together. China and Zimbabwe are truly all-weather friends. Our relationship has stood the test of time and is built on solidarity, mutual respect, and shared understanding through South-to-South global links. We leave China with renewed determination, broader perspectives, and stronger bonds of friendship. We will share the knowledge we have gained with our colleagues and communities, and we hope this exchange will continue to grow for the benefit of both our nations.
Well, that story leads us to another short break. We'll give you more news thereafter.
The countdown begins. Zimbabwe hosts the SADC joint meeting of ministers responsible for agriculture, food security, fisheries, and aquaculture in Victoria Falls, advancing regional focus on food and nutritional security across all SADC member states. Save the date, 26 to 29 May 2026, hosted at Safari Lodge, Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. Food security everywhere, every day.
Cicada unlocks EU financing and EU Zimtrade partnership benefits, thus enabling Isaac's farming business to flourish.
Kuminda benefits from EU Zimtrade partnerships, backing Taku's career, ensuring export quality.
2 hustles, 1 outcome. Everyone levels up together. From farms to cold rooms to global shelves, skills and teamwork are opening new paths every day. Stories of progress, wins worth celebrating.
From 11 7 June to 19 July, everything can wait. The FIFA World Cup 2026. Catch all 104 matches from as little as $10. Live on SuperSport, only on DSTV.
Cicada unlocks EU financing and EU Zimtrade partnership benefits, thus enabling Isaac's farming business to flourish.
Kuminda benefits from EU Zimtrade partnerships, backing Taku's career, ensuring export quality.
2 hustles, 1 outcome. Everyone levels up together. From farms to cold rooms to global shelves, skills and teamwork are opening new paths every day. Stories of progress, wins worth celebrating.
Since inception in 2011, Buy Zimbabwe has remained steadfast in our mission to drive competitiveness and champion the growth of Zimbabwean products and services, locally and even beyond our borders. What began as a bold vision has become a national movement, together with the government, industry, wholesalers, retailers and consumers. As Buy Zimbabwe, we have transformed the marketplace from just 10% shelf presence of Zimbabwean products. Now the local shops now proudly command 60% of retail space, a powerful statement to resilience, innovation and collective effort. On the 22nd of May 2026, Buy Zimbabwe will be honoring those who are not only participating in the market, but leading it. 2026 Zim Brands Awards, proudly brought to you by Buy Zimbabwe in partnership with our valued sponsors. Buy Zimbabwe. Jobs, wealth, pride.
Let's take a look at business. The government's debt and arrears clearance roadmap has received a huge boost after receiving a $4 million United States dollar facility from the African Development Bank for dialogue with creditors.
In 2022, the government of Zimbabwe initiated the Debt and Arrears Clearance Program aimed at resolving the country's US $21 billion in debt, including to external creditors such as the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. The framework includes dialogue with some of these key creditors, and in a shot in the arm for this process, the African Development Bank has set aside US $4 million in order to facilitate this process.
Our head of state and government, Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, has actually involved himself into ensuring that the debt issue is actually resolved. So this is why now we see FDB is coming in with this structure of the 4 million to ensure that the traction, we are seeing traction in as far as the debt issue is concerned.
Failure by the government of Zimbabwe for years to service its debt and arrears has been a key concern from external financiers, blocking some key funding to the country's sectors of the economy.
After years of being locked out of concessionary financing, this signals that Zimbabwe is moving in the right direction. If the dialogue leads to a clear roadmap, it opens up the door for renewed investment, growth and job creation. So well done to the teams involved.
The establishment of the Debt and Arrears Clearance Program is also a way by government to enhance its engagement and re-engagement program, and also the appointment of former President of Mozambique, His Excellency Joaquim Chissano, as the high-level facilitator, as well as former African Bank Development President Dr. Kenungi Adesina as the champion of the process, also brings credibility to external financiers in order to resolve the country's long-standing debt and arrears issues. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
After the break, we'll take a look at sports. Stay with us.
Destination hungry.
Europe's greatest stage awaits.
It's a game that really does underline the word champions. Parisian perfection!
Two giants remain as the eyes of the world turn to Budapest.
Oh, incredible!
Don't miss a moment with club football's biggest prize on the line.
Oh, wow! Have you ever seen football on this level?
Catch all the action on DSTV Access, only on Supersport on DSTV.
Cicada unlocks EU financing and EU Zim trade partnership benefits, thus enabling Isaac's farming business to flourish.
Kuminda benefits from EU Zim trade partnerships, backing Taku's career, ensuring export quality.
Two hustles, one outcome. Everyone levels up together. From farms to cold rooms to global shelves, skills and teamwork are opening new paths every day. Stories of progress, wins worth celebrating.
Sithakazelele amasiko ethu mhla ka-21 kuNkwenkwezi kunyanga yamasiko ethu. Umongameli wethu ubaba uMnangagwa uzobe ekhona engumhlonishwa eBarberfield. Izigaba zonke zelizwe zizabe zithakazelela uhlelo lolu.
Cultural diversity, advancing vision 2030. Tiri kupembedza chivanhu chetu. Tiri kupembedza mapikiro etu. Tiri kupembedza Zim vibes, culture alive, savor the flavors. Here Satan and Nyama thrive from Madura to Chimkuyu Nedovi, celebrating food from all corners of Zimbabwe, which brings us together. Diverse tongue unite us from Zambezi to Limpopo. Shona Zezuru Ndebele Kalanga, Ngoma Ichirira Chitamba Mandem Chongo Inishikisa. Our heritage is our pride, our stories, our customs, our fashion, our style on the show. May Zimbabwe Culture Month, our culture is our
Umlayezo lo usilethelwe yi-Ministry of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture ibambene le-National Arts Council of Zimbabwe.
Thank you for staying with us. We now look at sport. The Zimbabwe senior men's football team, the Warriors, are optimistic about their chances of qualifying for the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations after being drawn in a fairly decent group.
The Warriors were drawn in Group E alongside two-time African champions, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Sierra Leone and Equatorial Guinea. World Cup-bound DRC are the highest-ranked team in the group, sitting 46th in the world, while Equatorial Guinea and Sierra Leone are all outside the top 100 on the FIFA rankings. Warriors captain Marvelous Nakamba believes that they stand a good chance of progressing to the Pamoja tournament in East Africa next year.
We just have to focus on ourselves. I think also now in Africa, each and every team, they've got their own qualities. So I think it's a group where we say like, yeah, we just have to focus on ourselves to give everything, and also credit to Zifa for giving us some friendly games now.
With the Warriors, a local contingent set to leave for the Unity Cup this Wednesday, trialist midfielder Abubakar Moffat has also commended Zifa.
Just working hard and just try to win more games as we can. So that we can qualify for the AFCON.
The team will play Nigeria in the semi-finals of the Unity Cup, which also features Jamaica and India, ahead of the AFCON qualifiers, which are set to start in September this year. AFCON 2017 will be co-hosted by Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania. Lawrence Tusida, ZBC News, Harare.
Let's shift focus to the local league. Log leaders Hard Rock are set for another stand test of character when they face Harare Giants Dynamos in a Kasolaga Premier Soccer League encounter at Chawanda Stadium, and this match is going to be played on Sunday.
Hard Rock, the team that was playing as a threat in Zimbabwe's second tier this time last year, now sit top of the Kasolaga Premier Soccer League. The new boys have turned their newly minted home ground into a coliseum where visiting teams come to be broken. The numbers tell a story of dominance for the team led by Zambian tactician Calvin Kayindu. After 13 matches, they have registered 8 wins, 3 draws and 2 defeats. Hard Rock have scored 21 goals and conceded just 7 and are top of the log with 27 points. They are, however, not alone at the summit, as Caps United are also on 27 points, but second on goal difference. Standing in the way of Hard Rock this Sunday is the most decorated club in Zimbabwean football history, Dynamos, who have their own ambitions. A win for Hard Rock will not only extend their lead on the table, but build on their momentum and probably underline their title credentials. Matchday 14 kicks off on Saturday as the Rentals face Zimbabwe at Trufaro Stadium. Agama hosts at PC Carib at Wazanai Stadium. Gazette Platinum welcome Blair Chiefs at Baobab, while Chicken Inn collide with champion Scotland at Barberfields. On Sunday, FC Hunters clash with Tawana at the Hart Stadium. Manica Diamonds play Highlanders at Sakuva, and Triangle, who will be up against Moors at Gibo Stadium. Action continues on Africa Day Monday with a match between Caps United and FC Platinum at Trufaro Stadium. Anna Shembrompedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
We now cross over to the Met Department for the weather report.
Hello, welcome. It's time for your weather news. Yesterday, we had isolated thunder showers in parts of Blair Metropolitan as well as Matebelele South, as this resulted from the flood of moisture that entered the country from Botswana and which has now been shifted further northeast by the cool winds from the South African coastline. And looking at what transpired today, cool morning conditions prevailed, and tonight we're expecting cloudy conditions across much parts of the country. Very cold conditions over the central parts, stretching from Bulawayo, Mat South into the Midlands up to the northeastern parts of the country. Tomorrow we're expecting a significant drop in maximum temperatures as we are having some cloud cover over much parts of the country with some cool, moist winds from the southeast of Zimbabwe, and mild conditions are expected over the northwestern parts of the country, chances of isolated showers. Bulawayo cool at first, becoming warm by the afternoon under cloudy conditions. There's a chance of drizzle and light rain in places. Same applies for Matopos. Cold in the morning with warm afternoon conditions throughout the forecast period. A chance of drizzle is expected as well. Uganda, Matebelele South, brief cloudy periods with chances of drizzle in places, though cold in the morning and towards the evening. The Midlands, we are still expecting cold conditions as we are still having cool, moist winds from the southeast coast of South Africa, Masvingo as well. Cloudy conditions are expected, though cool at first with warm afternoon conditions. It should get cold towards the evening. Mutare, Manicaland area. Cloudy conditions are expected for Thursday and Friday with chances of light rain and drizzle, though cool at first and towards the evening. Nyanga, very cold morning conditions are expected, getting mild as the day progresses. Under cloudy conditions, there's a chance of drizzle in places. Marondera, some cloud breaks on Friday, though it should be very cold during the mornings. Harare as well. Very cold morning conditions are still expected with slight decrease in our maximum temperatures throughout the forecast period. Kadoma as well, we're expecting cool morning conditions becoming mild as the day progresses. Chinoi, isolated sun showers are still expected for Thursday, though it should be cool at first with afternoon warm conditions. Victoria Falls, mostly cloudy conditions for Thursday and Friday, though cool in the morning with warm afternoon conditions. Lupane as well, a chance of isolated showers is expected, though it should be cool at first with warm afternoon conditions. Bindura, some cloud breaks on Friday with an increase in maximum temperatures from Saturday onwards. Kariba area there, we're expecting more sunshine from Friday onwards, though it should remain mild in the morning with warm daytime conditions. That's all weather news today. Thank you for tuning in. Keep warm and stay safe. Good night.
Our weather reports concludes the main news for this evening. Thank you for joining us. I am Monalisa Dube.
And I'm Alvin Matawa. Noble Maungwa was on sign language, not forgetting the entire crew behind the scenes. From us here on the main news, good evening.